Hey guys, my name's Sully, and in this video, we're going to talk about the best 3 assault rifles in Battlefield 4. Now this isn't going to be a comprehensive review and statistical rundown of each weapon per se. Instead, I'm going to take a look at the best rifle for 3 basic styles of play: aggressive, precision, and all-around. My goal here is to help you learn a bit about what makes these guns so successful in given situations, or for different roles you may find yourself playing in your squad or on your team during a round. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to playing the objective, I am a firm believer, no matter the map, no matter the game mode, to adapting to the current situation, reading the game, and then picking the right loadout or the kit that's going to help you succeed and your team win. I'll talk more about the different styles of play and provide some tips on when you're going to want to use each of them later in the video. But enough talk, let's get to the top 3 assault rifles out there on the battlefield. First up is the AEK 971, and what a way to kick off this list. With a blazingly fast rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute, the AEK is hands down the best gun for an aggressive style of play as an assault soldier. If you're a player that likes to lead the charge, or if your team just needs a little bit more momentum to cap a crucial objective and turn the tide, you're going to find yourself in the thick of the action a lot and needing to deal with a lot of enemies quickly, and often in closer quarters. As you can see here on some conquest on Lumpini Gardens, the AEK's high rate of fire allows you to more quickly adapt to multiple targets at close range. And with a respectable short reload of 2.3 seconds, you'll be back in the action before you know it, but only if you're managing your bullets and playing your angles effectively, because if you run the mag dry, like I just did, you'll be facing a painful long reload of 3.6 seconds and may get overrun by 1 or 2 targets that you didn't have a chance to take down. Luckily here, we have a lot of momentum, and that wasn't the case. But more so than the other guns on this list, with the AEK, just like all the other high rate of fire guns in the game, you're going to have to manage your bullets and try to manage also those engagements. Make sure you have a good angle and a good fallback when you're pushing a point, so you don't necessarily have to run the mag dry and face that long reload right when it matters. Just because you're playing aggressive doesn't mean you don't have to play smart, because the smarter you are, the more effective you're going to be. And part of playing smart with the AEK and conserving bullets is managing your bursts at different ranges. Up close, you can get away with bursts of 6 or 7 bullets at a time, and you're even tap firing the gun to pick 2 guys off of that bridge. But at even medium or longer ranges, you're going to want to manage those bursts, and even micro bursts, maybe bursts of 3 to 4 bullets, or even 2 to 3 at longer ranges. Now, this isn't the best footage for it, but you do have to have that discipline and be a little more accurate to take down a lot of those players without running through a bunch of magazines. And as you see there, I'm making sure after each engagement, while I have some cover of that hill, I'm reloading while I can, and then pushing up immediately on this point, which is burning. Now, to help manage the bullets on your AEK and make sure you're not caught in that long reload too much, I would recommend putting on an angled or folding foregrip and a flash hider to help with your accuracy while bursting and helping to conceal your position a bit more. Now, if you're a god of recoil management and you want the extra accuracy while firing full auto, you can certainly try a heavy barrel, but I find it much more effective to run that flash hider on the higher RPM guns in the game, since it's less important to have the accuracy at full auto than it is while bursting. So to recap, the AEK is an excellent weapon for situations when you need to be an aggressive player and push on points and enemies. You'll just need to make sure that you do so in a smart way, and don't expect to turn the corner in a point and mow down 5 guys in close quarters. Pick your angles, push your enemies' positions, and let the gun's rate of fire help you take down the enemies very quickly. But what happens when the AEK's rate of fire and recoil aren't getting the job done because your enemies are in solid defensive positions, or you can't manage the distance of your engagements as well? Well, that's when you'll want to turn to the next gun on the list. And that gun is the SCARH, and no doubt about it, this rifle has a damage model like a truck barreling downhill. But almost equally as important as that damage model is the gun's accuracy, and Pearl Market is the perfect map to demonstrate why the SCARH is all about precision. While Pearl Market's narrow streets, multi-story buildings, and crowded take points appear at first to make it a close-quarter warrior's wet dream and ripe for the AEK, the roofs and windows on this map make it a bit of a free-for-all. One moment you might find yourself in a fight with a group of enemies just meters away and around the corner, while the next moment you can turn around and find yourself face to face with a head-glitching support player in a 3rd-story window or behind cover on a roof. In those situations, you want a gun that is incredibly accurate, but also can take down enemies at closer ranges, and this is where the SCARH comes in. With its current potential for a 2-shot headshot at closer ranges and 3 shots to the body, the SCARH is the best of both worlds. And with it, you can take care quickly of the guys in close quarters, and then turn around and double tap a guy in the face, up on the roof or in a window. And I know that if you've played Pearl Market, you've come into that situation, and it's really, really frustrating. But with the SCARH, you can counter that and be very successful. And Pearl Market isn't the only map in which these situations arise. It certainly is one of the few maps that constantly seems to have those stark fluctuations in engagement distances from close to longer ranges. But let's say you're pushing a point like D on Siege of Shanghai, or rushing on a map like Zavod, where your enemies could be right in front of you, or further away on a hill or a roof. Spawning in with the SCARH and then posting up on cover will give you a better chance of picking those players off their positions and helping your team advance on the objectives. Now, with the introduction of the Bulldog Assault Rifle with the Dragon's Teeth DLC, there was a lot of people arguing that since it had the SCARH's hard-hitting damage model, but had a higher rate of fire, it would supplant the SCARH in the assault rifle hierarchy. And now, I'm not going to go into great detail here over why I strongly feel that is not the case, since I covered it at length in my Bulldog review, and I'll put links to that review in the description below and at the end of this video. But the bottom line is that even with a lower rate of fire, the SCARH's significantly shorter reload times make it a much more effective and versatile gun in situations where a high-powered rifle is called for. And this clip right here that just finished up is a perfect example of that. I'm able to take on multiple people in these two garages because of the quick reload time and high damage model. Not to mention the SCARH's hip fire, which is better than the Bulldog, pretty much saved my life there, and I survived in that situation where I might not have with other rifles. So in terms of a loadout, you're going to make the SCARH as accurate as possible, but at the same time pretty manageable. That's going to allow you to turn and pick off people pretty quickly and then get back into cover. To that end, I run with a stubby grip and a flash hider. You can also try the angle grip like we talked about, since you're going to be tap firing and burst firing this, but I actually find that the rate of fire is so low that full auto is pretty easy to manage with a stubby grip. That being said, the SCARH, more so than the AK, is a specialized gun. You use it when you want to counter a certain style of play. So what happens when you need to be a better all-around player and the map may call for a little more versatile rifle? Well, that's where the third and final rifle on our list comes into play. And when it comes to picking a best all-around rifle that will perform well in a large majority of situations, there is no weapon better than the HK M416. And I'm using it here on a map that I've come to love it on, which is Propaganda. Here, the engagement distances are longer, but there's also some close quarter action. But unlike maps like Pearl Market, it's still a much more open map, and it's harder to manage your angles as much. So you're going to have to be even more flexible in your engagement distances than with the SCARH. You may have to peek around a corner and try to pick somebody you think is 2 buildings down, but have to deal with 2 guys that are at the end of that very building. And at the top of the list of this gun's attributes is its lightning fast reload times of 1.85 seconds with a bullet left in the chamber and just 2.4 seconds if the gun is completely empty. The M416's middling rate of fire of 750 rounds per minute means that it can both hold its own in closer quarters as long as you're accurate, but also that it's a little easier to manage bursting at longer ranges like right there. I didn't get the guy in the end, but I did enough damage that that guy is not going to be pushing me or my team too soon. That allows for my squad or another squad to come up onto the point with us and reinforce us. And as I push him in the bus here, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about the versatility of this gun. Now, I know I didn't get the kill, but now that I have reinforcements on the point, I'm going to push him in the bus and get the kill here in the foot. And because it's the foot, it takes a few more bullets than normal to kill him, but I'm able to reload quickly enough and get this other guy right on the point. And that's a kill in other situations where I might have had to switch to my secondary, and because he got to jump on me, I might not have made that kill. And so that's a great example of just how versatile the M416 is with its accuracy and its incredibly quick reload time. And as we push out of this site, I'm getting a couple of hits on a guy further down in cover, and just like the previous kill, it allows my team to move up and finish that kill. I'm not leading the charge like I would with the AEK. I'm allowing myself to get up on points, support my other teammates around me as we push a point together. And because I'm taking it slow and working with my team, they're actually there to revive me. Now, there are a lot of people who will probably vehemently disagree with my selection of the M416 as the best all-around assault rifle in the game, and will quickly point to the Ace-23 as not just the best assault rifle all around, but also the best gun in Battlefield 4. But the problem with that argument is that it relies on the fact that the Ace-23 isn't really the best at any one thing, whereas the M416, it's slightly slower, yes. It's got a slightly slower muzzle velocity, so it doesn't have quite the range. But actually, if you outload it to be as accurate as possible like I am here and how I would recommend you do it, with a stubby grip or potato grip and a heavy barrel, the M416 actually ends up being a much more accurate gun with lower recoil and a tighter spread. Not to mention the lower rate of fire of the M416 compared to the Ace-23 actually makes it seem like the recoil is easier to control even though it's less in the first place. And you can't overlook that reload time. Much like everything else with the M416, it comes back to how fast you can actually put more rounds down on target compared to the Ace-23 over the course of a round or a minute. With the M416, you're going to put more rounds and then do more damage because you're not spending as much time reloading in those unpredictable situations where people are around the corner. And while on paper the Ace-23 may seem to be a better gun, the M416 in practice, after hours in game and thousands of kills, ends up being the better gun. If you haven't used the M416 in a while, I recommend you go back there, use this accurate setup, and after a while and getting some used to it, you're going to find out just how useful that gun is. And that's it for my list of the best 3 assault rifles in Battlefield 4, depending on the situation. If you are an aggressive player or the situation calls for you to get close in on the action, the AK is your best bet. If you need a weapon that is a precision machine for killing people off of head glitch spots or at longer ranges, pick up the SCARH. And if you need an all-around reliable rifle, load out with the M416. Now, of course, these are all recommendations that you should try out and customize to your own style. But overall, if you go with these guns when the situation calls for them, you won't go too wrong. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Was there anything I missed? Would you swap out one of the guns? Make sure to share your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, guys and gals, my name's Sully, and I'll see you on the battlefield.